Alright, welcome to the Zoom class for the adults. What I want to do today, Saturday morning, it's 9 o'clock, I've not had particularly good sleep. Little one kept me up quite a bit, and so I'm quite tired. So this is probably a lot of us when we're going to the golf course, and how long does it really take us to get going in the day? So my plan today was to show you this. So how long, I know I'm inside, but I'm not going to use any equipment really at the house. I'm just going to use my body, maybe a golf club, and then how many swings it takes to get going. So I've got my 7-iron, and I know personally I have to get going because I won't play good golf. I have a little bit more of a closed club face, and as a result my bad shot is left, double cross on a fade, overdraw on a draw, and so I have to move my body quite quickly. And so for me to get that feeling, my normal club speed of a 7 is somewhere in the region of 85, 87 miles an hour, I'm sure, when I'm playing. I like to always push the boundary and get it up to close to 90 miles an hour. It's always a goal of mine when I practice, but I want to show you how long it takes me to actually get there. And so not trying to push it, just gradually move it up, move it up, move it up, move it up. The first thing, I want to get my body a little bit more prepared. I feel quite sleepy, quite tired, so let's see how long it takes. So to start with, you've got to know your own body. So for me, it's always the hips, always got to feel like the hips feel stretched. So I'm always moving. So I'm just going to start gentle, gentle movement, trying to get that. Oh, I'm going to get my back woken up, whatever it may be. So you just make your own exercises up here if you want. I don't mind, I'm just trying to stretch all back through here. And then I'm going to do some hip flexor stuff here. So this may look a little boring for a bit, I apologise, probably fast through, but anyway, you've got to figure out what you've got to do yourself. Because right now, like I said, I need to open this out. This feels, lower back is always tight, whose isn't, right? And the hips just feel slow, the whole calves feel really tight. I don't know about anyone else, always seem to have tight calves. Stand on my feet a lot all day. I'm sure that's the reason. Over and over again, I always call it, there's a bit of a, you have your own inwards, and I call it my summer back. And I remember the first time I was teaching like a madman, and around October my back decided to explode. That was the first time I had a back experiment. Next year it went a little sooner. So it's bad when I get my summer back in March. It's going to be a long summer. So gradually every year it's got a little shorter, and I swear, oh my God, my feet. A few years ago I went to insoles, orthotics, because my feet were just like about 3-4 o'clock in the afternoon. I got to take my shoes and socks off, or at least my shoes off, because they're just killing my feet all the time. And of course that's going to transfer up the chain. So anyway, I'm just loosening myself up. That's a good one for the groin. Put the groin here, back and forth. Again, all this stuff you can do at the golf course just before you hit a ball. So I really would refuse to ever hit a golf ball until I've got some bit of flow, some blood flow, and then gradually as I loosen this up, now I'm going to start moving a little bit. So now my upper body is never too bad. I feel like I've always got pretty good rotation, so I don't worry. Again, I focus on the areas that I know it gets a bit tight. My shoulders, that's just more of a functional thing for me. But, so I don't have a hard time getting my arms up, I don't feel at times. I don't have a hard time rotating. What I have a hard time is getting weight in all this area up. It's just thicker through here, I guess, I don't know, whatever it is. So I'm just loosening this up. And now I'll start moving a little bit. And exaggerate that motion, really, it's not a golf swing we're doing here, we're doing a movement pattern. Oh. I find this downward dog a killer. Notice how much hips I'm stretching out here. Behind me a little bit. Alright. Honestly, might even do a little bit more. My neck also, upper trap's always a little tight, so I try to get them go a little bit. Stretch them, move my neck around. Feeding the baby in the middle of the night makes you nice and rounded. Doesn't help. So, this area here, I think it's called the QL, part of the hip flexor type thing, and extend over. This one back, then I rotate, I put that arm behind me. Oh yeah, good stretch up the thigh that time. Extend up through the hip. I think feel extended. Extension is good. I like it so much, I think we'll give that one another whack. Oh, that one's going to get behind. Now extend up through the hip. We get the hip all through here. Oh yeah. So on the back swing, I'm extending up here through my right side. And forward swing, extend back to the left side. Alright, now I'm going to make a few swings. This was tight, jacked up. But that's a perennial one for me. So, we'll start making a few swings. What I'm going to do is actually start left-handed. Usually start swinging a few lefties. I reverse my grip for this. Obviously it helps with coordination, but for me it's just opens my body up from a different direction. It just kind of opens me up one way. And now alright, so we're good. So now we'll start hitting a few shots on tracking. What was that warm up? A lot of sort of staticky sort of movement stuff, and then a few movements with dynamic, sort of trying to go in those areas and moving around a little bit. So let's have a look. Club speed, boom, right there you go. That one there. So pretty gentle, that's probably going to be mid-70s to start with. Probably moving at 3 or 4, I'll be moving up to about low 80s. Probably a bit slower. Just moving, try not to cause an injury right now. And then again, you're just assessing each time. Alright, what needs to be? Right now I don't feel I really get into my hips too much, so get out of the way a little bit more. Always kind of assessing a little bit early doors in the session. Alright, I feel like that opens up more, that's better. Maybe turn that foot out a little bit so I can move a bit better. Yeah, that felt a little bit better. Alright, so I'm not putting any speed in yet because I just want to feel like I'm moving. Now that foot's in a better position, that hip's in a position for the day I can move. So I'm going to ramp this one up into the low mid 80s, probably 82, 83 this time. Put a bit more speed into it. Felt alright. Felt quite comfortable with this hip movement. Having that foot hip. Yep, that feels okay. Maybe a bit of a stretch that way. Just rotate that around. Alright, 85 this time. 84.3. So you see gradually I'm listening to my body, I'm moving around. That's not really full pace yet. Guys playing. That's probably closer to what I normally would play. That may be what, 85? Maybe a little harder. But body feels okay now. As I can turn. Right, let's hit a little bit harder. So all I do for me is, again, I have to move faster. So that may be up there a bit quicker now. It's up the track now. You can pick that one up. It did. Or I did that one. I don't know. Trackman is not level. It's worrying. It's inside my house.
It's changing.
Maybe it's got a camera attached. Let me do this and get rid of that camera. This may be why it's not keeping up. Alright. So that's probably my norm. I normally hit this club, I don't know, 170, something like that. What's that, 165? I've only got this one, and I normally play a blade. It's just what I got hanging around the house. So it probably with a little bit of a jumped up cavity back goes a bit further. Alright, so that's kind of where I would be if I'm playing golf, and probably on the range at this point. I'm moving up the bag to different clubs. However, the goal was to get to 90, so keep assessing areas where I can try to get there. So let's try to get a little bit more speed, a little bit more, drive out of the hips is out of the way for me. So I feel like I'm going to load into that hip and just try to snap it back. Let's give it a whirl. So 88, the arms felt like they were maybe moving a bit faster. I'm not so sure. I think they're probably stuck in mud a little bit. Alright, gradually creeping up there. Terrible shot. Well, that was pretty fast. Oh, that's 88, that's worrying. But the interesting thing, if I swung now easy, it's probably still going to be 85. Because once you start pushing this envelope out, it's a good sign. So that felt a pretty good swing. Feel like I'm turning faster. 88. This is definitely probably too hard for what I would go out the golf course. Went to the ball, didn't it? That's probably my bad one on the golf course. Oh well, alright, and hopefully 89, we're gaining slowly but surely. Maybe it, 86. Woo! That felt like I'm swinging me driver. But I know what's that, 15-20 minutes into it, and I feel like I can go full pelt. But now I feel at least I can go to that tee and give it a whirl. So that didn't feel my greatest swing, and that was close. Well, we're right there. We'll call it a day there. So 89. I'm sure the second we turn the video off it'll be at 90. That's okay. But at least we got the idea. So how long it takes me to get loose? I feel loose. Critical is that hit a couple of shots, assess. We just don't want an injury. So you assess, and only once you feel like I'm in the position I want to be, is when you start ramping up. And if you notice, it took me a few shots, quite a bit of stretching, a few shots to get there. Hopefully this will help you Just understand your own body and what it needs to do. All right.
Interesting for you to point out, it was 8 minutes before you hit a golf ball.
No. Yeah, probably about normal, maybe longer.